the stone bull. Based on a real experience. I will start by saying that I am 31 years old, and for a long time I was very interested in caving. To be more precise, in cave exploration. I found a lot of excitement in putting my life in dangerous situations, going into caves so small that you can barely breathe, and with the danger of getting trapped in the middle of a hole. My parents also loved exploring, but when my mom got pregnant with my sister, she chose to put that hobby on the back burner. Once I went with some cousins to explore some caves that are not suitable for the general public. In these caves, I had an accident because I made a wrong move while climbing on a rock. The result of the accident was a broken leg, although it could have been much worse. My parents asked me not to explore the caves again, and as I was scared of the accident at the time, I told them that I would not do it again. I was 5 years away from that hobby until I met a man, whom I will call Andres. Andres was the perfect man. He really liked extreme sports, and when he heard about my love for exploration, he wanted to try it too. From then on, we started a relationship which was the best I have had so far. At first, we tried to experiment with things like mountain climbing, motorcycling, surfing, and so on. The adrenaline I felt from these sports did not compare to the adrenaline I got from exploring caves and similar places where sometimes no one had ever set foot in. Andres kept insisting that I return to exploration, until I finally agreed. He wanted to go to an unexplored cave. All of us who have done this know that it's a bad idea to take first-timers on this kind of exploration. But I thought I would go to a place where there was no risk. All Andrew had to do was follow me. What could go wrong? We decided to do it early so we could get out of the cave before dark. The cave has a 60-meter slope. As I investigated, at the end there was a water area where we could swim and have a good time before we started our way back. As we made our way down the cave, I noticed that this place had several deviations that I didn't think I would encounter. I asked Andres to follow me at all times because it could be dangerous, but he was always very curious and independent. Twice when I turned around, I noticed that he was not following me. I had to go back and tell him again not to move away. By the third time, I couldn't find him. The deviation was very deep, and the further I went, I realized that the space was getting smaller and smaller. I thought I was going to find Andres there, but there was no trace of him. I think I was looking for him for about 40 minutes when I saw that the space was getting wider. When I managed to get out, I was on a rocky surface. I saw no water. It really looked like a clean space. There was only one thing that really caught my attention. In front of me was a sort of sculpted figure of a bull. It had a horrifying expression. I have explored enough caves to know that no natural rock formation can be so precise. There was no doubt that someone had sculpted it. I wanted to take the path back, but just then, as I looked down, at my feet, there were many bones and skulls piled up. I have never been so scared in my whole life. It is known that in some caves bones have been found, but I never knew that any were found in this area. Next to the bones there were other things like plates, figures, and very strange idols with long faces and beak-shaped heads. The atmosphere felt so heavy that it was hard to breathe. I began to believe that this place could be a place of worship for some ancient tribe. All I knew was that I couldn't be there, and that Andrew was lost. I stopped for a moment to know how to react to the situation. Just then I saw something I couldn't believe. I realized that there was fresh fruit and some animal meat served on a plate. It was impossible. Someone had been using that space for rituals, or so I imagined. I know what I'm telling you may sound unbelievable, but I swear it's true. At that moment, I heard a voice say to me, "Surrender." I didn't think the voice came from the bull because it was impossible. I squeezed my eyes shut and heard that voice say to me again, "Surrender. You belong to me." As soon as I opened my eyes, I managed to realize that the voice did come from the bull. There was something behind the statue. and I noticed it because a head peeked out from behind it. The stone bull was about 3 meters tall, and the thing behind it had a person's head. Nothing made sense. It was Andres who was playing a joke on me. There could be no other explanation. I called out to him saying, "Is that you, Andres? Please come out of there. We have to go now and I don't like this joke." I stared at the bull's head and saw that the thing was showing itself again. This time I could see it better thanks to the light from my helmet. It wasn't Andrew. It was a creature with greenish skin and round yellow eyes. Its head was also elongated like that of the skulls on the ground. It could not be a human being, although I have no idea what it could be either. I noticed that its arms were thin and his nails looked like claws. As soon as I saw that, I screamed at the top of my lungs. I started to climb up the hole through which I had come to that place. I didn't think about Andrew or anything else, only about saving my own life. I climbed up in a hurry, imagining that this creature would come after me. I didn't stop until I was out of the cave. Inside that place, I lost all sense of time. It was already dark outside. I lay there for a moment, catching my breath, and after a few minutes I pulled out my phone and dialed 911. In less than an hour, the rescuers were looking for Andres. But in the 3 days that the search lasted, we couldn't find him. His family sued me because they thought I had murdered him and hidden his body in the cave. The case dragged on for 2 years until I was finally able to prove my innocence. I only mentioned the creature to my parents, who believed me, although they didn't really pay much attention to what I told them. Maybe they thought it was a hallucination caused by the lack of oxygen that caves sometimes have. I don't know, but the truth is that we never mentioned it again. That place has a plaque with Andres' name on it, and it is still closed to the public. This time with a prison sentence for anyone who dares to cross the limits. I have had to endure insults and hateful looks. I have also had nightmares about the creature I saw in the cave. That thing has stayed in my memory, and I will surely not forget it until the last day of my life. I think it was right when it told me to give up because I belong to it. It has taken a part of me, and I don't think I can get it back. Other times I think that Andres, that person I loved so much, was part of that payment.